Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're diving headfirst into something, well, let's be honest, it's kind of freaking everyone out, AI and what it means for, our jobs,
Oh, yeah, definitely a lot of anxiety around that these days.
for sure. And, you guys sent in some pieces of that article, what was it called? Why some employees may struggle to keep up with AI advancements.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. And it's a perfect jumping off point because, seriously, every time I open my newsfeed, bam, another headline about robots taking over.
Right. It's like the AI apocalypse is just around the corner.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we wanted to cut through all the hype and get some real answers, you know?
Totally. Get beyond the clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. So we're turning to the experts, the folks who live and breathe this stuff.
Okay, who are we talking about?
The International Labor Organization, the ILO.
Ah, the ILO. Gotcha.
They're like the authority on the global workforce, right?
Yeah.
And their research, it's not just speculation, it's like hardcore data-driven analysis.
I'm all about data-driven, so what are they saying?
Well, their 2023 research note, it's super in-depth, like they analyzed over 400 different occupations.
Wow, that's a lot. 400.
Yeah, 436 to be exact, to see, how this whole generative AI thing is going to shake things up.
Okay, so what'd they find? Spill it.
Okay, so the big takeaway, the thing that kind of surprised me, honestly, is that AI is a double-edged sword.
Okay, I've heard that before. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so it's not just like robots are going to take all our jobs, end of story. It's way more nuanced than that.
Nuance is good. I like nuance.
Right, so some jobs, yeah, they're probably going to get phased out. But at the same time, AI is going to create a whole bunch of new jobs too.
Makes sense. And probably a lot of jobs they'll just change.
Exactly. Like the tasks within those jobs will shift. But that whole shift, that's what we got to figure out.
Yeah.
How do we make sure we're evolving in the right direction?
Right, because change is inevitable, but we want to make sure it's changed for the better.
100%. And there's this quote from the ILO's Director General, Gilbert Hungbo, that really stuck with me. He was speaking at the Paris AI Summit.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. What did he say?
He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something like, any CEO who can replace a worker with AI will. Like, point blank.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement. So it's not about whether AI is going to change the job market. It's about how we manage that change.
Exactly. Like, we can't just stick our heads in the sand and pretend it's not happening. We have to be proactive.
I'm with you on that. So where do we start? What are some of the specific changes we need to be thinking about?
Well, one of the most surprising things the ILO found, and this is where it gets really interesting, is that it's not just blue-collar factory jobs that are at risk.
Okay, that's what everyone always says, but I'm guessing there's more to it.
Way more. We're talking white-collar administrative roles, too.
Yeah.
Those are vulnerable to automation, big time.
Really? Like what kind of jobs? Give me an example.
Okay, think about travel agents.
Oh, yeah.
With all the online booking platforms, so many of their tasks, poof, gone.
True. Or what about bank tellers with everyone doing their banking online?
Exactly. The ILO found that in those types of jobs, almost a quarter of the tasks are highly automatable.
Whoa. A quarter. That's huge. And does that mean they just disappear, those jobs?
Well, it's not that simple. Some will, probably, yeah. But a lot of jobs, it's more about the tasks within them changing.
Okay, so what about the other tasks? What happens to them?
Well, the ILO, they found another 58% are at what they call medium risk.
Medium risk. What does that even mean?
Basically, it means AI can help with those tasks, like make them easier or faster, but you'll still need a human in the loop.
Okay, so it's not just about jobs disappearing, it's about jobs evolving.
Exactly.
So some jobs will change a lot, some will change a little, and some will disappear altogether.
Got it. But what about the new jobs? What will those look like? That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, it's hard to say exactly what the future holds. But one thing's for sure, the skills that are going to be in high demand, they're the ones that AI can't replicate,
Okay, like what? Spill the tea?
I'm talking about creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving, emotional intelligence, the human stuff.
So the jobs that require uniquely human skills.
Exactly. Like think about teachers.
Yeah.
Sure, AI can personalize lessons and stuff, but it can't replace that human connection, especially for younger kids.
That makes sense. Kids need that human touch.
Absolutely. Or what about computer network specialists? AI is getting super sophisticated, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to need even more people who can design and manage and safeguard those systems.
Oh, yeah, for sure. More complexity, more need for experts.
Totally. Or think about lawyers.
Hmm.
AI can help with legal research and stuff.
Right.
But when it comes to, building an argument or thinking about the ethical implications of a case,
Yeah.
you still need a human lawyer for that.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom.
Not at all. There are definitely some bright spots.
That's good to hear. But one thing that worries me, and I know this is something that ILO is really concerned about, is the potential for AI to widen the gap between the haves and have-nots.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for women.
Yeah, this is a big one, right? It's like if AI takes over jobs that are traditionally held by women, it could set us back big time.
Exactly. And we've made so much progress, so what can we do about it? How do we make sure everyone benefits from this AI revolution?
Well, that's what we're going to dig into next. But first, a quick break. So before the break, we were talking about how AI could actually make things, more unequal.
Yeah, it's a real concern. And, it's not just about the jobs themselves. It's like women are already underrepresented in a lot of the fields that are, driving this AI revolution.
Right, like tech and data science and all that.
Exactly. So if we don't do something, AI could end up just reinforcing those existing inequalities. It's like instead of leveling the playing field, it could actually tilt it even further in the wrong direction.
And we definitely don't want that. So what can we do? How do we make sure AI benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Well, first, we need to acknowledge that this is a real issue. It can't just be brushed under the rug. And then we need to be really intentional about creating opportunities for women to get involved in this field.
Okay, so more women in tech, more women in leadership roles in AI.
Yeah. And it's not just about getting women into those positions. It's about making sure they have the support they need to succeed once they're there.
Right, like mentorship and sponsorship and all that.
Exactly. And we also need to be thinking about, the broader societal implications of AI. What happens if a whole bunch of jobs disappear? How do we make sure people have the skills they need to thrive in this new economy?
That's where that whole idea of reskilling and upskilling comes in, right?
Yeah, but it can't just be okay, everyone go learn to code. It needs to be more holistic than that.
Right, what about people who are already juggling a ton of responsibilities? They're working multiple jobs, they're taking care of their families, they may not have the time or resources to just drop everything and go back to school.
Exactly. And that's why we need to be thinking about things like affordable childcare, flexible work arrangements, and, maybe even something like universal basic income.
Whoa, universal basic income. That's a pretty big idea.
I know, but it's something that more and more people are starting to talk about seriously, Because if AI is really going to disrupt the job market the way some people are predicting, we need to start thinking about how we're going to support people who are left behind.
Okay, so we're talking about some pretty big societal shifts here. But let's zoom back in on the individual for a minute. What can each of us do to, prepare for this AI-powered future?
Well, first, I think it's important to stay informed, read articles, listen to podcasts.
Like this one.
Exactly. Like this one. Learn as much as you can about how AI is evolving and how it might impact your industry.
So don't bury your head in the sand.
Nope, definitely not.
Yeah.
And then I think it's important to be proactive about developing your skills.
Don't wait for your company to offer you training or something.
Right. Take ownership of your own learning. Figure out what skills are going to be in demand in the future and start building them now. There are so many online courses and resources available these days.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And a lot of them are free or super affordable.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment, Try different things, see what you're good at, what you enjoy. Because at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is to be adaptable.
Adaptable.
Yeah, because this AI revolution, it's not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. And the more adaptable you are, the better equipped you'll be to navigate whatever changes come your way.
That's some solid advice. But, I have to admit, even with all this talk about adaptability and reskilling and all that, I still feel a little bit, apprehensive about the future. What if AI really does take over everything?
I get it. I really do. And it's okay to feel that way. This is a big, scary, unknown thing we're facing. But you know what? I also feel a sense of excitement.
Excitement, really?
Yeah, because AI also has the potential to free us from a lot of the drudgery that we currently associate with work, Imagine a world where we don't have to spend 40 hours a week doing tasks that we hate.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
A world where we have more time to pursue our passions, to connect with our loved ones, to contribute to our communities. That's the kind of future I want to be a part of creating.
That sounds pretty amazing, actually. but like, how do we get from here to there?
Well, it's not going to be easy, that's for sure.
Oh.
But I think it starts with changing our mindset, shifting our focus from fear to possibility.
Okay, so from fear to possibility. I like that. But it's still hard to shake this feeling that, like, AI is this big, powerful force that's kind of out of our control.
I hear you. But here's the thing. AI is not some mysterious force of nature, It's a tool. It's a tool that we created.
Yeah, but it's a tool that seems to be evolving at, like, warp speed.
It is evolving quickly, that's for sure. But ultimately, it's still a tool that we control. And we have a choice, We can choose to let AI control us, or we can choose to use AI to create a better world for ourselves and for future generations.
It all comes down to choices, right?
Exactly. The choices we make today will determine the kind of future we create.
Okay, I'm feeling a little bit more empowered now.
Good, because we need everyone on board, This isn't something that any one person or organization can solve on their own. It's going to take all of us working together.
I'm ready to do my part. So where do we go from here? What are some concrete steps we can take to ensure that AI is a force for good in the world?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to support organizations that are working to promote ethical and responsible AI development, like the ILO, for example. They're doing some amazing work to ensure that AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
So support organizations like the ILO.
Yeah.
What else?
And then I think it's important to educate ourselves about AI. The more we understand about how these technologies work, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about how we want to use them.
Right. Knowledge is power.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to have conversations about AI with your friends, your family, your colleagues. The more we talk about these issues, the more likely we are to find solutions that work for everyone.
So educate ourselves, have conversations, and support organizations like the ILO. That sounds like a good plan. But, there's still one big question that's been nagging at me throughout this whole deep dive.
Okay, what is it?
What about education? Like, how is AI going to impact the way our kids learn?
Yeah, that's a huge question, right? I mean, our kids are growing up in a world where AI is, like, everywhere. So how do we prepare them for that?
Well, I think the first thing is to, not be afraid of it. Like, AI is not this big, scary monster. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right. It's all about how we use it.
Exactly. So I think it's important to introduce kids to AI early on, help them understand what it is, how it works, and what it can do.
So like AI literacy for kids.
Exactly. And there are so many great resources out there for that now. Like there are books and games and apps that teach kids about AI in a fun and engaging way.
That's awesome. And I guess the more kids understand about AI, the less intimidated they'll be by it, right?
Right. And they'll be more likely to see it as a tool that they can use to create things, solve problems, make a difference in the world.
Okay, so AI literacy is key. What else?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also important to help kids develop the skills they need to thrive in an AI-powered world. And I'm not just talking about technical skills like coding.
Right, because we were talking about those human skills earlier, the ones that AI can't replicate.
Exactly. Things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, communication. These are the skills that are going to be in high demand no matter how much AI advances.
So we need to make sure our education system is fostering those skills.
Absolutely. And that might mean, rethinking the way we teach, the way we assess learning, the whole structure of education, really.
It sounds like a tall order, but it's definitely something we need to be talking about.
Oh, for sure. And, this is where parents and educators can really make a difference. We can encourage kids to be curious, to ask questions, to experiment, to take risks.
So basically, we need to help them become lifelong learners.
Exactly. Because in an AI-powered world, the ability to learn and adapt is going to be more important than ever.
That's a great point. And it's funny because when we started this whole deep dive, I was feeling pretty anxious about the future, all these headlines about AI taking over the world. It's kind of hard not to feel a little bit freaked out.
I get it. I totally get it.
But honestly, after talking to you and really digging into this topic, I'm feeling a lot more, hopeful.
Me too.
AI is going to bring a lot of changes, and some of those changes might be challenging. But it also has the potential to create a world where we can work less, where we can focus on the things that matter most to us, where we can solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Exactly. And the best part is we all have a role to play in shaping that future. It's not something that's just going to happen to us, It's something that we create together.
So, to all our deep divers out there, we hope you're feeling a little bit more empowered, a little bit more informed, and a little bit more excited about the future. Because remember, the future is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced.
And who knows, maybe one of you listening right now will be the one to invent the next big AI breakthrough that changes the world for the better.
That's it for our deep dive into AI and the future of jobs. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned something new. Until next time, keep diving deep.